All right, now you just experienced the first 3 costs of switch tasking. What's the first and most obvious cost for most of you? Time. The amount of time it takes to complete things increases. Whenever you think you're multitasking, you're really switch tasking, it's causing things to take longer. People will see this exercise and they'll say, well, this is an oversimplification, Dave. This is not what the real world is like. No, let me show you what the real world is like. I'm sitting at my computer. I'm typing away at an email, right? I'm crafting a powerful missive to convey my knock, 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 someone comes to the door. Okay, let's say that I don't even try to switch task, which would be far worse. I just answer the question. So I stop, and they ask me the question. I listen. I say the answer's 42. Thank you very much. They leave. Now what do I need to do? All right, I have to go back to the screen, figure out where I was, find my spot, get my thinking in the right spot. Or if you're off the charts ADHD like me, you'll see a piece of paper on the desk, pick it up, start working on that, and 2 hours later you still have an unfinished email on the screen. Sound familiar? Whenever you switch tasks, whenever you switch, the amount of time it takes to complete things increases. The second effect, what's the second effect, please? Accuracy. Be honest. How many of you ended up on a number other than 27? Yeah, I love this, okay? Now, whenever you see people switch tasking, it causes the quality of work to decrease. I'm going to say something that perhaps you have heard said or someone said to you, okay? I gave you instructions. We talked about it before. We went through this before. We practiced it together. How'd you screw up? What went wrong? Sound familiar? Whenever you see highly intelligent people making dumb mistakes, and we had a room here of highly intelligent people who made dumb mistakes, that is almost always a symptom of switch tasking, not incompetence. It is not your ability. It is the choice that you're making mathematically to try to do multiple things at the same time that causes these costs to occur. The third effect is not quite so obvious until I ask you to think about it. Remember how you felt the first time we did this activity? No big deal, right? Copying numbers and letters. Remember how you felt the second time we did this activity? The first time, if you remember, I was calling out the time increment at every 5 seconds. 5, 10, 15, no big deal. The second time around, I know, because I've heard this before, when you were doing it, I was calling out the time increments, and some of you were thinking, shut up, Dave, I'm trying to get this done. Right? It's so familiar, that feeling. Have you ever had a situation where someone comes to talk to you and you just want to like strangle them? I mean, even the people you love, like your family members. Ask yourself in that moment, what am I doing? Am I switch tasking? Because if you're switch tasking, you're almost always going to experience stress the moment another input is added to the situation. Is it little wonder that we live in a world that has so many time-saving devices and so many stress-relieving outlets, and yet we feel that we are more stressed out and more deprived of time than we've ever been in the history of the world? And who is to blame for this? Al Gore, right? Because he invented the internet. It's his fault. No. Clearly, it's the choices that we are making with technology. It's not technology. It's not the internet. It's not your phone. It's that we are using these things improperly.
Dave Crenshaw is a top-rated speaker on productive leadership. He provides keynote addresses and workshops for events around the world. To inquire about Dave's availability for your event, visit davecrenshaw.com/speaker.